Welcome to the Life After Sugar podcast. The podcast that's not just about sugar, but about your relationship with it and also with food and especially with yourself. So if you want to discover your life after sugar and hear inspiring stories from all kinds of people who also cut out sugar in their way, at their pace, for their own reasons, this is the podcast for you. Because when you take away the sugar, you can finally discover the real sweetness in your life. I'm your host, Netta Gorman, and today's episode is called You Can't Fail Your Life After Sugar. And I know for a fact that many of us, including myself, in the past, see a sugar-free life as being some kind of massive mountain that we have to climb, or some kind of huge final exam that we have to get a 100% perfect grade on. No pressure, right? So today's episode is from me talking to you, not just as a teacher, but as a fellow traveler on the path to being sugar-free, to let you know this one very important point. You can't fail at your life after sugar. And in just a minute, I'll tell you why. And this week's episode is brought to you by the After Sugar Club, which is where you'll get the step-by-step guidance you need from me to help you let go of sugar and the emotional hold it has on you so that you can get to a place of freedom where you don't even need, want, or miss it anymore, so that you can break free from sugar for good, and if you're an intermittent faster, make your intermittent fasting lifestyle easy and natural. Sign up today. Go to aftersugarclub.com and click on the green button, Join the Club. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so that it appears magically in your podcast player every Sunday. And if you've listened to several episodes before and you haven't yet left a review, could I ask you to scroll down, please, and rate the podcast and leave a lovely review to tell me how this podcast is helping you in your life after sugar. Has it inspired you to reduce sugar? Has it made you think about sugar a little bit differently? Let me know. I love reading your reviews. Thank you. All right, so let's have a little chat about this concept that you can't fail your life after sugar. And I mean, I've been teaching for over 30 years, so I know a thing or two about passing and failing. But see, passing and failing is all very well in the classroom or in formal or academic education, but when it comes to your well-being, including being sugar-free, I don't think the whole pass-fail paradigm has its place. In fact, I honestly think that it does more harm than good, and what's more, I'm convinced that it comes from the diet culture. Think about it. You probably tried different types of diets over your life, right? I know I did. Did you ever feel like a failure when you tried any of those diets? I know I certainly did. Especially with the yo-yo diets where you'd lose some weight and then it would come back on as soon as you went back to, air quotes, normal eating. I don't know about you, but I used to feel that I was lacking in willpower, or I was weak, or that everyone was doing better than me. I'd compare myself to others who were losing weight faster than me, or who looked better than me, or whatever. And then I'd feel inadequate, or down on myself, or ashamed, or sad, or depressed, or bottom line is, I felt like a failure. And I'm pretty sure that over your lifetime, where diets are concerned, you've probably felt like a failure as well. And it seems to have gotten to a point where the diet mentality is so prevalent, so normalized, that we've now come to believe that it's normal to feel like a failure. And for many of us, our self-worth is so tied up to whether our weight is up or down, or whether we fell off the wagon, or were good or bad over the weekend, or whether we caved or whatever. It's like the whole concept of passing and failing has become a reality. And I was totally in that reality until I actually stopped eating sugar back in July 2015 and was kind of knocked out of that paradigm, that reality, into another reality, one that I'd never imagined existed, and one that doesn't make me feel like a failure. That new reality is what I call life after sugar. And I built this reality for myself where instead of feeling like you're a failure, you feel strong and empowered. Instead of being told what to do by the diet industry or by the processed foods industry, you feel confident to educate yourself and make your own decisions. Instead of being insecure or unsure about what to eat or what not to eat, or what to say or what not to say, or what to do or what not to do, you feel at peace with yourself, with your choices, and with sugar. And this is what I teach others to do. It sounds a bit woo to say you build your own reality. And believe me, I'm not a woo kind of person, but my personal experience has shown that you can actually build your own life, build your own reality. And if you don't want to feel like a failure, which, let's face it, most of us don't, you really don't have to. And you certainly don't have to let the diet culture determine how you feel about yourself. Let me give you an example. Now, a few months ago, I got an email from someone in response to an email that I sent about the After Sugar Club and asking, without judging, what was holding people back from joining. And one of the answers that I got was from, well, I won't mention her name, but she said, I haven't joined yet because I suppose I feel like it will be something else I spend money on for health and weight loss and not succeed at. I may lose weight for a little while, but I'll be back to binging on sugar in no time. And later on in her message, she said, I know I can't lose weight because of how much sugar I eat, but I'm tired of failing. Sound familiar? Well, of course, I wrote back because I totally understand that feeling. And you know, fear of failure is very common, especially about our weight. And here's what I replied. I think the diet culture has failure built in. It's such a shame because it's making so many people unhappy and down on themselves. Now, for some of us, freedom comes when we get to the heart of our attachment to sugar and are able to let go of it completely. And that's what I help people do, even if it can seem impossible. And you know what? That person joined the After Sugar Club. It wasn't necessarily my intention that she do that, but I do think that when you're with a group of people who decide to step out of that diet culture and put aside that fear of failure, not because it's not valid, but because they want to try something else. And I don't mean another diet, I mean another mindset, another approach, not just to their food, but to themselves. In fact, when you can entertain the possibility that there's something else than the pass-fail paradigm, then in my opinion, that puts you in a powerful position to choose how you want to see your food, yourself, and your life. And really, that's what life after sugar is all about. I just want to take a quick break to tell you about the sponsor of this podcast, Medicine with Heart, which is an international functional medicine clinic specializing in difficult chronic cases of hormone imbalance, Lyme disease, mold illness, and digestive dysfunction. You can sign up for a consultation with their team to see if they can help reverse your disease. Find out more about them at medicinewithheart.com. Now, sometimes I get the impression that we set ourselves up for failure when we start a diet or any other type of project. And of course, we do this unconsciously. At least that's how it is for me. But if I give the example of feeling like you're not going to even try or begin to live your life after sugar because in any case you're going to fail at it, then can I offer a little bit of tough love here? I'm doing it because I hear this quite a lot. This kind of fear, and I had it too, that I won't be able to do it right or perfectly or good enough. And therefore, I don't want to even try because I don't want to feel like I'm failing again. But you know what? What I found for myself and for lots of other people that I help is that this type of thinking, understandable as it is a type of self-sabotage, a way of keeping us in our own fear so that we kind of feel safe or even comfortable in our discomfort. Because let's face it, trying something new or different, well, it's a risk, right? I mean, there's no guarantee that it's going to work. Even if you see that it works for me or someone else, that doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to work for you. And sometimes we feel that we need a guarantee in order to jump in. But you know what? From personal experience, for myself, and from helping other people, I can tell you now that it does take courage to risk doing it anyway, even if there is no guarantee. In fact, I'll tell you something else. You can create your guarantee. How? By not falling into the trap of this pass or fail mentality, by not putting this unrealistic yardstick to be perfect on yourself, and to accept that not only can you create your own life after sugar, but you can do it without any type of external judgment, like, say, an exam that you can pass or fail, or the judgment of others that you're passing or failing, or even your own judgment. Once you let go of that pass-fail mentality, well, it's impossible to fail because failing just isn't on your radar. Let me give you another example, because I do realize that this does seem easier said than done. So, one of the After Sugar Club members wrote in our community recently, she knows that she's a moderator when it comes to sugar. In other words, she can handle just a little bit from time to time. But recently, she's had a few experiences where she's now questioning just how much of a moderator she is, because she had these couple of experiences where she ate something either sugary or starchy, like a mint or some bread, and she found that she was on the slippery slope to wanting more and more and more, and this was making her question her own identity as a moderator with sugar. Now, it was a fascinating conversation in our community because she and we looked at these experiences in a more analytical way to discover how she reacts with certain foods, in certain situations, and how she reacts with herself. In other words, how she talks to herself or thinks of herself as a result. Did she fail at being sugar-free? No, not at all. It's not even a question of failing, it's a question of learning. Learning about her own relationship with certain foods, learning about her own behaviors, and then taking action in the future based on that learning. And I can tell you as a teacher and also as a learner that sometimes it takes us several, if not dozens, of repeated experiences before we get it and before this translates into new behaviors. That's what the learning process is. Now, if she had set herself some kind of arbitrary goal, like being 100% completely sugar-free for, let's say, 2 weeks or 90 days or whatever, and then something would have happened to make her want to eat a sugary food, and then, let's say, during that period of time, she ended up eating some sugar or some starchy foods, would she have failed? Would she have to start over, back to square one? I don't think so. That really does sound very much like the diet mentality to me. And quite frankly, pretty restrictive and, well, not a particularly fun way to live. Our approach in the After Sugar Club and in life after sugar in general is for you to become more aware of how you behave, of your relationship with sugar and certain foods, and of course, your relationship with yourself. And that growing awareness has nothing to do with failure. In fact, in my book, it's a huge win. So, in conclusion, there is no way that you can fail your life after sugar. No way. Because it's not about passing or failing. It's about learning and becoming more aware and therefore more empowered to choose and behave in ways that serve you and make you feel good rather than work against you. So it goes much deeper than whether or not you eat sugar. Life after sugar is all about you. You're at the heart of it, and we're here to support and encourage you. And I'm here to guide you, because I've been living my life after sugar for 7 years, and even though I'm not perfect, and my life after sugar isn't perfect, I am living it freely and joyfully, and that's better than passing any exam. So even if living your life after sugar may seem like a huge mountain or an impossible final exam that you have to pass, it's really not. It's a way of living, a way of relating to sugar, to your food in general, to yourself, and to life. And if your well-being is your number one priority, you can't fail. And if you want some free resources about how to start living your life after sugar, head on over to my website aftersugarclub.com and download my simple guide. Just click on the tab Simple Guide. And while you're there on the website at aftersugarclub.com, download my 5 tips for getting rid of cravings. Whether you're an intermittent faster or not, cravings can really stop you from feeling free with your food. So download those 5 tips at aftersugarclub.com. And you can get more free resources and tips on the Life After Sugar YouTube channel, the Life After Sugar Facebook page, and come and subscribe to my Instagram account at My Life After Sugar. That's where I post pictures of what I eat, what I do, sometimes some inspiring quotes, or sometimes just pictures of our cat, so that you can see that it's totally possible to live a fun and active life even if you don't eat sugar. And if you're ready to get some personal guidance, support, and accountability so that you can let go of sugar and feel more confident in your food choices and feel healthier because you've finally made peace with sugar so that you get to a point where you don't need it or miss it anymore, then the After Sugar Club is the place for you. Together with myself and a group of other like-minded health-conscious people, You'll get all the guidance you need in our supportive and friendly community so that you don't just change what you eat, you change how you think and how you see sugar so that you can enjoy the real sweetness in your life. Check it out at aftersugarclub.com. And if this podcast is inspiring you to take one more step towards your life after sugar, then could I ask you to please scroll down and leave the podcast a lovely 5-star rating and leave a short review to let me know how this podcast is inspiring you to break free from sugar your way and find the real sweetness in life. Thank you for listening. That's it for this week. Keep in touch and see you soon for another episode.